Welcome everybody to a new year. Looking forward to getting some things done this year. First thing, we need a motion to adopt the agenda. Councilor Dunn.
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda of January 6, 2026 regular council meeting.
Okay, council, then we have a motion on the floor. Seeing no one in queue, let's vote. And I'm assuming our two online are, thank you. That's passed unanimously. Next then is to approve the minutes from the regular council meeting, December 16th. Councillor Dooley Nelson.
Like to move that council adopt the regular council meetings for December 16th, 2025.
Thank you. And council, again, let's vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Next up, minute with council. We do have a couple of people here to attend. First, Jan Vosboten. Apparently, you're going to tell us about the Nordic Center and what's going on. Thank you. Perfect.
Mayor and Town Council, my name is Jan Vosboten. I'm the chair of the Hinton Nordic Skiers 50th Anniversary Planning Committee. I'm here today with Rick Zroback, who truly represents the heart of the club. We'd like to invite you and all residents of Hinton and Yellowhead County to join us in celebrating 50 years of Nordic skiing in our community.
Crazy.
From February 7th to the 14th, the volunteers have organized a series of free events for all ages, including a jackrabbits lesson for kids, a chance to ski a short biathlon, including shooting using laser rifles, group skis at Camp 29 and Yoakum Valley, an evening ski at our new canine cabin, and the always popular freeze and chili Loppet. This year, we're going retro with retro ski outfits. And our final event, a banquet on the 14th at the Hinton Golf Club. Hinton Nordic will also be offering free skiing during Hinton's Winter Magic Festival. And on both Saturdays, the 7th and the 14th, Vicious Cycle and Snow has graciously agreed to provide free ski rentals at the main lodge, first come, first serve. Rick also had a message to pass on.
It also should be noted that as a continuing legacy marking this momentous milestone, a series of 8 legacy signs have been placed on the main trail out of the stadium. And as well as a large painted mural will be displayed on the side of the main lodge. These are permanent and tell the story of the accomplishments achieved by the Hinton Nordic skiers over the first 50 years.
Yeah, so we warmly invite everyone to join us. Full details are available on our website and Facebook page. Thank you. I do have posters for the event if you guys want them. I also given a digital copy to Ms. Davy Campbell.
We all got that today.
Okay.
So
Yep.
Thanks very much for your
Sure.
time. I put it in my schedule to buy tickets for the dinner as a minimum.
Well, I think you should get your retro ski outfit that you used to use and ski in the Loppet.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to fit anymore, Rick.
Right on. Thanks.
I had to do that right.
Thank you. And then Suzanne Stevenson. And thank you for your time and everything you've done for the last 50 years.
I'm Suzanne. Many of you know me, and you also know I'm very vocally against short-term rentals. So that's what I'm here to talk about, specifically the non-principal residents. So if I don't clarify, I'm not picking a fight with permanent resident short-term rentals, just non-principal residents. I don't think I need to reiterate how annoying they are to live around. Probably everyone here lives near one and experiences it. But what I do want to reiterate is the demographic that's really impacted by this. So I have a lot of friends, young families. I brought my baby as a prop, trying to buy a single family home. You know, because they need another bedroom for another kid, they want a home office, they can finally afford a garage, and they are beat out by this insane market in Hinton. And maybe it's cooled a little bit right now, as Kristen said, but it is really, really hard for people to buy a single family home. And the people buying these homes are not people who want a vacation home in Hinton. It is investment companies. If you look at the Airbnb profiles, these people have 30 Airbnbs. Look at 132 College. Multiple of them are in Hinton. So this is not like our friends from Edmonton who are hanging out here. These are investments. And if we can't get people to buy homes, families are going to leave. Young people, the people who 2 working incomes, volunteering, we're going to see people leave Hinton, and that's going to be really hard on the rest of us who want to stay in Hinton because all our friends are leaving. Julie brought up a really good point about what to do once the limit is reached. And one thing I think that's really easy to say is keep it with the property, but that's what they do in Jasper with their tourist accom. And we've seen that it artificially drives up the price of homes by hundreds of thousands of dollars, like insane amount of money. So it doesn't actually solve your problem because that house is permanently off the market for any local people. I know I'm on the extreme end of opinions that I want to see no non-principal resident short-term rentals in town, but we do have the option to lower the licenses by when people sell the home, that license is gone. Then we aren't hurting in investors. I don't have sympathy for them, but I understand the perspective. But we can slowly lower this and bring single family homes back to people who want to live and work in Hinton. And I'm not arguing that Airbnbs don't bring any value to town. We do need tourist accommodation. Like I have friends and family come visit and there's very few places to stay. But at what cost are we allowing this benefit? It's the cost of young families, and it's the cost of businesses who can't retain or attract talent because there's nowhere to live in town. And it's the cost of all of us who have to live near these places. Like I'm on College and there's a lot, and it is so annoying. I mean, I report it all the time, and the town has been amazing to deal with the problems, but that's also my tax dollars dealing with these problems, which tax dollars that could be going towards a rec center or water treatment plant. So I appreciate your meeting in December. I think everyone is on the same page about recognizing this as an issue, but I do want to propose that we talk about, you know, eliminating this non-principal resident short-term rental. Maybe it takes 10 years, but getting us on the track to do that and keep houses for people in Hinton. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Your passion's always evident when we talk about this. So. Anyone else? Jen,
No, there's no one else this evening.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we'll formalize it a little bit, and we do have a delegation in today. Jesse Mercier. Welcome. Thank you. And I only ask that you speak into the mic.
Yeah.
And we have gotten all the background material.
Okay, I was going to ask that.
Everybody's read it. So really, I think hit the high notes, the points that you would really like to make.
Okay.
And thanks for coming.
No, absolutely. Good.
Take it away.
So yeah, I do want to begin by saying I do respect the work that you guys do. The town staff does, the efficiency that the town does on a routinely basis. I've only lived here for a few months, and it's probably one of the better towns I've lived in my life. I do come from a military background, so I've been quite all over the country. Just a little bit of background. You say that you read it. I'm just gonna hit those high notes again. So in early November 2025, my family experienced a sanitary sewer backup into our basement. We contacted a licensed private plumber who attended and advised us that the blockage appeared to be beyond our property line. Camera inspection was conducted, and the plumber contacted the town on our behalf, assuming that it was a collapsed main. The following day, a town sewer staff member attended. We advised that the line appeared to be collapsed and that this was a town issue. An emergency repair order was created, and we were told not to worry about it and it would be taken care of. Later on that same day, my wife received a call advising that the town would not be re-snaking it or re-inspecting it, and that the line will be excavated and will proceed directly. No documentation was provided to us at the time of this decision, and no agreement was presented for signature. On November 8th, the excavation was completed entirely within the roadway at or near the junction with the municipal main line. No work occurred on my property. Only after the excavation was completed did we receive an update, and that the update was that the cause was now believed to be a grease buildup, and that I would be responsible for all the full cost of the repair, including the road excavation and the restoration. My concern is today is not simply the final determination. My concern is how the determination was reached and applied in my case. Whether the town followed its own mandatory procedures before assigning financial responsibility to myself. The 4 key issues I've noted were 1, no sewer investigation agreement was signed. Under sanitary sewer backup policy number 38, section 4.1.3A, the policy states that the resident shall sign a sewer investigation agreement prior to the town undertaking any work. In my case, no agreement was presented, no agreement was signed, and excavation proceeded anyways. Number 2, no deposit was collected or waived in writing. Under sewer and wastewater bylaw number 2006, sections 8.2 and 8.4, a deposit is required prior to excavation of town property, or the director may waive the requirement, but that discretion should be documented. In my case, no deposit was requested, no written waiver was provided, and the excavation proceeded. The roadway has not yet been restored to its original paved condition. I understand it's winter, and that the pavement needs the warmer temperatures in order to seal properly. Despite this, I'm now being invoiced after the fact. That is not how the bylaw is written to function, in my belief. Emergency excavation was authorized. Town work order shows that the initial belief was a collapsed line. Based on that belief, an emergency order was issued and excavation was authorized, which I respect. I understand emergency decisions. However, when excavation proceeds on an unconfirmed diagnosis, the financial risk of that decision should not later be shifted to the homeowner, especially when required preconditions and documentation were not completed. Importantly, in the town's own work order notes dated November 13th, staff include future recommendations stating that in similar situations, a second camera inspection should be completed and standing water should be removed from the line before proceeding with the excavation. To me, that confirms that additional investigative steps were both possible and appropriate in my case, but they were not taken before the excavation proceeded and costs were incurred. And the responsibility was assigned without measurement or formal report. I did request the exact location of the obstruction, the measurement from my property line, and a written sewer crew report, which I did not receive. I would also like to note that we only had owned the home for a few months prior to this incident happening. The town staff acknowledged that the grease buildup likely predated our ownership, and the excavation occurred entirely on town property. While I understand that policy can replace responsibility on the homeowner in some circumstances, these facts matter when discretion and fairness are considered in my case. What I'm asking for council is I'm not asking council to rewrite the policy or override the staff on their routine decisions. I'm respectfully asking council to direct staff to reassess this file with a focus on procedural compliance and consider exercising discretion given the mandatory steps were not followed before excavation and invoicing myself. My only possible solution or outcome for this, or what I would like to expect, is a full or partial write-off to the costs incurred during this incident. And in closing, I acted in good faith throughout this process. I was only responding to what I was being professionally told by the town staff and my plumber. Decisions were made quickly, and I respect that. Without required agreements or documentation, I was only going off of what I'm being told. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate your time. And it is something we're going to talk about a little bit later in the meeting. So thank you for your feedback and input, and we'll make that decision a little bit later today. Okay. Thank you. Can I get a motion to receive?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
Can I get a motion to receive? Go ahead, Don. There you go. Yep, you Should be good to go.
Information.
Yep, to receive it as information.
Okay, I'd like to move that we accept the presentation for information.
All right, council, we have a motion. Kill your mic there, Don. Up that council accept the presentation for information. Please vote. And that's carried. Thanks, everyone. All right, and can I get a motion to quickly move into closed session? Counselor Dunn,
I move that we move into closed session.
thank you. I'm gonna have to vote. There we go. Please vote. That's carried. For anyone watching, we're only going to be a few minutes and we'll be back as soon as we're done.
Don't take backs. Like I told everybody I know.
Works.
Counselor Nelson, we have a motion to come out of closed session.
I'd like to move that council allocate. I'd like to move that council allocate 4 bursaries for the 2026 intake. And if I could speak to it, there's basically equivalent of, I believe, 11 possible bursaries over the next 3 years. So this, by doing 4 this year, it gives us 3 and 4 for upcoming years, if that's how things play out. Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, please vote. And that's carried. Thank you, everyone. All right, then now it's every counselor does have a ballot. Please cast 4 votes or less, I guess, up to you, but up to 4. And place it on the docket in front. And you've received feedback from Councilors McDonald and Chambers? Okay. Okay. Did you hear that, Councilor McDonald?
Through the mayor to members of council, we're recommending that council announces the recipients of the Trans Mountain Pipeline bursary for the intake period that closed on December 23rd, 2025 as Ethan Brott, Maverick Cortez, Cody Jones, and Gracie Kempen.
And I guess then that we need a motion to put that in place for the funds to be sent. Councilor Nelson.
I'll make the motion that council announce recipients of the Trans Mountain Pipeline LP bursary for the intake period that closed on September 23rd, 2025 as Ethan Brott, Maverick Cortez, Cody Jones, and Gracie Kempen.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion on the floor. Any other thoughts, comments? Seeing none, please vote. And that's carried. Thank you. We'll have some happy students fall out of that one for sure. All right, our next action item, 7.2, borrowing line of credit. Administration.
And through the mayor, I will turn that over to Ms. Bourbeau.
Thank you, and through to all of council. Annually, we are required, according to our banking agreement with ATB Financial, to bring the borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures forward to council. ATB requires this as they want to be assured each year that administration has advised council if they're going into the line of credit or if there's monies being drawn on it that potentially council is not aware of. So it's a housekeeping item that administration gladly brings forward. New bylaw number for this year would be 2026. Because it is essentially a housekeeping item, we are, if council is agreeable, looking for all 3 readings this evening. Our borrowing line of credit is currently at $1.3 million. And we have a $200,000 MasterCard limit, which covers the umbrella for all of the MasterCards that are issued. In 2025, the line of credit was not accessed at any point in time, and the MasterCard is a revolving limit, what is paid off monthly. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Barbeau. Council, any questions? All right, how do we want to deal with this? Counselor McLean.
Yeah, I'd like to move the council give first reading to the borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures. Bylaw number 2026.
All right, council, we have a motion on the floor. Any comments, thoughts? Seeing none, we will vote that council gives first reading to borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw number 2026. And with that, please vote. And that are we everybody? Thanks. I was trying to follow the mouse. I couldn't do it. All right, Councillor Nelson.
I'd like to move that council give second reading to borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw number 2026.
Council, motion on the floor. All right, seeing no one in
Chair.
queue,
Sorry, Mayor. The first one hasn't been completed voting on yet. It should be up on your screen. My apologies.
Councillor Dunn. All right, and that's passed unanimously. All right. Now we can move on. Councillor Nelson.
I'd like to move that council give second reading borrowing bylaw to credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw number 2026.
Thank you. Council. Seeing no one in queue, I call the question. The council gives second reading to the borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw number 2026. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Council? Councillor Nelson.
I'd like to move that council gives unanimous consent to move to third reading of borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw number 2026.
Thank you. And with that, I call the question. The council gives unanimous consent to move to third reading of the borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw 2026. And maybe next year we should have a look at the name of this bylaw, but 2026. And with that, please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you, council. Thank you, Councillor Nelson.
I'd like to move that council gives third reading to borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw number 26.
All right. And with that, I call to question the council gives third reading to the borrowing line of credit to finance operating expenditures bylaw number 2026. Please vote. And now the ATB should be happy. Thank you, council. Right, the next action item, 7.3 vehicle for hire bylaw number 2024, administration.
Through the mayor, I will turn this over to Miss Leesmaster.
Hello, and thank you through the mayor to members of council. There are two connected reports before you today, this one and 7.4, which is the fees, rates, and charges bylaw. There has been one minor change since the last reading. The section numbers in the bylaw were referring to incorrect sections of the same bylaw. So each section number reference was changed to properly reflect which section they were intending to reference. We have received feedback from the communities as well since last reading. From taxi companies, we have heard that they desire a bylaw that does not limit them to one color of vehicle. The current bylaw before you today, or not the current bylaw, the bylaw before you today does not limit taxis to one color. They have also indicated that they do not want rideshare in the community and have indicated a desire for a cap on how many taxi companies can operate in Hinton. We have also heard from citizens at large as to the cost of traveling from the valley to the hill using a taxi and the desire for pricing controls in this bylaw. We are before council seeking second and third readings, and I am available for any questions.
Thank you. Council, any questions? I actually have one. In the document on page 26, it says current taxi companies in Hinton and other vehicle for hire companies that currently do not fit the taxi bylaw are aware that this review is underway. Who are these non-conforming companies in town currently?
They are not non-conforming. They are not applicable under the current taxi bylaw. So that would be the shuttle services. They're not mentioned in the current taxi bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Nelson.
I'd like to move that council give second reading to vehicle for hire bylaw number 2024. I'll speak to it briefly, mostly to concerns that were brought up. I don't think it's council's job to limit competition within a sector, and nor is it within our purview to set fixed prices for goods and services within private businesses. But I hope the convergence of multiple things does bring that price down. It's a pretty large burden for people who are traveling for work outside of public transport times. And I look forward to seeing hopefully prices go down and availability increase. Thank you.
Anyone else? Oh, Councillor Chambers.
I still don't support this bylaw as it's written. I'm not in favor of the rideshare options within our community. I do understand that there are pricing discrepancies and things outside, the operating hours that we have within our transit system, but I don't believe that bringing in a rideshare is the right move at this point for our community. So I will be voting against. While I do like the rest of the work in the bylaw, I think it's been a really good cleanup and it was much needed. So the majority of the bylaw I'm in favor of, but I am not in favor of this version with the rideshare. So I'll be declining.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Dunn.
I will be supporting this motion simply because I think it's important to give people of Hinton more flexibility and more options with the services that we provide.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else in queue, then I call to question the council give second reading to the vehicle for hire bylaw number 2024. And with that, please vote. And that is defeated. With Chambers, McLean, and McDonald voting against. Right? So I guess that's done for tonight, yeah?
Through the mayor, I am just checking our procedural bylaw, but I believe that a defeated second reading. Sorry, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. But with a defeated second reading, that would remove the previous readings. So we could go back to first reading if council would like. I'm just confirming this with the procedural bylaw, or we could have that concluded for tonight and we can bring it back at the next regular council meeting.
Councillor Chambers.
Are we, now I need a clarification from administration. Am I able to make a motion that we defer this back to a future committee of the whole meeting for further discussion?
Through the mayor, absolutely you can.
I'd like to make that motion, that council refers this to a future committee of the whole meeting. I'd like a bit more of a fulsome review, I think, of, both of those options again, that, you know, we had looked at, but I think maybe a little bit more in depth. And with looking at some of the, yeah, just maybe looking at some of the other options or some of the controls around that. But I think being able to have more of a discussion as a group instead of bringing this back into the big room again, so we can hopefully come to some type of agreement as a whole, would be the best course of action going forward. So I would like to put that motion forward for a future committee of the whole meeting.
All right, council, we have a motion on the floor. Any thoughts? Councillor Dunn.
I just want clarification on what this means to the motion that we already voted on.
It's done.
It's done? If we vote for this? No, it's done regardless.
Can I get some clarification on that, please, administration? I think a defeated second reading removes first reading, correct?
Through the mayor, I'm just confirming that with our procedural bylaw. I should have an answer very soon, but
Thank you.
but for this one, really, it's saying that we don't want this bylaw to proceed tonight, and instead we'd prefer that it goes to a committee of the whole meeting for more discussion prior to coming back to a regular council meeting for any further readings.
Thank you. Councillor Nelson.
Yeah, I don't know if this needs to be a formal amendment. I would just request that there's some sort of date put on this so that those potentially waiting for this bylaw to be passed have an idea of when it's going to come back to either committee or council.
Thoughts, administration?
Through the mayor, members of council, no thoughts. I think that would be an appropriate friendly amendment if Councillor Chambers would like to consider that. I believe that we are ready to go with this bylaw for any future committee of the whole meeting. That
So it could say the next.
Yep.
Are you okay with that amendment, Councillor Chambers?
Yep, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Should we just put, do we for sure have room at the next one, I guess? It appears that way. Or do we just want to say prior to the end of January?
Through the mayor, that actually might be preferable, just because I don't know what what we have on our agendas, just to make sure that we're bringing it forward when it's appropriate. We should be able to fit it in for sure in January, likely at the next one, but just to give us some flexibility.
Okay, so I'm happy to amend my motion to say prior to the end of January.
All right, thank you. All right, Councillor McLean.
Yeah, just for clarification we have a bylaw in place. We were amending it tonight and we were going through the first and the second reading tonight. So the old bylaw is still in place. There's still rules and regulations in place until we come to a consensus and amend and have a new bylaw in place, right?
Yes, through the mayor to members of council, until council has provided all three readings on a new bylaw, the old bylaw is in effect and it will continue on.
You good?
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, but a defeated second or third does redact any previous readings. So the first reading has been rescinded.
Thank you. All right, No one else in queue. Then I call the question that council refer the vehicle for hire bylaw number 2024 to a committee of the whole meeting prior to the end of January 2026. And with that, please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Look at us all getting along. All right, the next action item, fee, oh, no, 7.4 goes away, huh?
Through the mayor, members of council, yes, my recommendation is I don't think we have to defeat this one as well. We can keep this one within first reading. But if we could just simply skip this one for now and consider this as a part of this vehicle for hire bylaw when it comes back to regular council, I think that'd be preferable.
Is there any advantage or strategic reason to have the readings in alignment?
Through the mayor,
It's just
No,
approving fees before we even have a bylaw in place.
That's correct. I think the only thing that really matters is that when we approve one of the bylaws, we should approve both of the bylaws so that we're not out of alignment. But where they're at when it comes to the readings, we should keep them as close as possible, not to introduce any confusion. But I don't see there being any implications of allowing this to simply sit at first reading. We are definitely going to take care of this within 2 years, which is the deadline for sitting in readings. So I think we could leave it when we bring it forward. We'll just need to make sure that we pass both of those bylaws on the same date.
Well, that makes sense to me. Council, you're good with that? All right. So then we head on to our information items, and first up, 8.1, 186 Sutherland Avenue sanitary sewer repair.
And through the mayor, I will refer this to Mr. Lippidu.
Thank you. Through the mayor to rest of council. Before you this evening is the 186 Sutherland Ave sanitary sewer service repair administrative report that outlines the details which Mr. Mercier also outlined in his delegation presentation earlier this evening. His presentation shares a lot of the same details that are written in this report this evening as well, with a few minor details that we have added as well. And Mr. Mercier pointed out that there were some procedural discrepancies that, in his opinion, should have been followed. And I'd like to shed a little detail onto why those procedures were not followed. And the main reason being is that as per policy number 38, the sanitary sewer backup policy, a sewer investigation agreement needs to be signed when the town is undertaking an investigation of a sewer backup on private property. In order for us to enter onto private property and investigate the reason for a sewer backup, we need a sewer investigation agreement signed between the homeowner and the town. In this case, the sewer investigation was completed by a licensed plumber. There was no need for an investigation, and we proceeded with the repair based on the professional opinion of the licensed plumber that responded to this incident. Likewise, the deposit for the repair would only be required if there was a reason to believe that at the time the homeowner would be responsible for the repair. When the decision was made, we were under the impression that the sewer had collapsed. It was an infrastructure failure, which would put the responsibility on the town to repair, and it would also place the financial burden of this repair on the town. When we opened up the ground and we saw that it wasn't the case, that is when we decided to essentially shift gears and notify the homeowner of the responsibilities, given the light of the new information that we found. In light of this, we see that there is a discrepancy of information between the plumbers and our policies. There is, we see the need that plumbers need to be educated on what homeowner responsibilities are and town responsibilities are when it comes to these sewer backups. Simply saying that it's a town problem because it looks like it's past the property line isn't always the case. For example, a sewer blockage, since it originates from the home, that does tend to be a homeowner responsibility as per the policies and the bylaws. And administration is planning a plumber's workshop presentation in the first quarter of 2026 to educate the plumbers and to hopefully get that information out there. And with that, I'll pass it back to you guys.
Thank you. Council? Councillor Chambers.
Thank you. My question is, if you had known ahead of time that this was a grease blockage, let's say by further cameraing or further investigative work, would there have been a less invasive way to fix the problem versus the way it went, expecting that this was a water main break? I think that's the biggest thing for me, because if all of these costs would have been incurred 100% no matter what, that's one thing. But if we went and opened up a road to then figure this out, like I know you can auger for tree roots and there's different chemicals or steaming, different things like that. You know, would a different approach have been taken had you known that this is what the issue was? Because the part that doesn't sit well with me is, you know, did we have to open up the road, do the asphalt work, do all of this stuff, or should we have done more of an investigative side of things? Would it have impacted the cost maybe to some degree, and should that be taken into consideration?
Administration?
Through the mayor to council, yes, you are correct in that if we would have known that the blockage was not caused by an infrastructure failure, but as a grease blockage, the plumber would have been able to auger through or to steam through, and it likely would have resulted in a lower cost to the homeowner for that. However, the investigation part of it rests on the responsibility of the plumber, and the town relies on the professional opinion and determination of the plumber when entering into these situations. Rarely do we go out and try to verify the work of a professional plumber to ensure that it was done diligently. In these situations, again, there seems to be a need for an education on the side of the professional plumbers to ensure that we are aware of the policies and bylaws currently in place.
If I can follow up, Mayor.
Please.
I think it's, in my opinion, unfair to be penalizing the resident for situational problems and discrepancies and lack of education between a plumber and the town. I believe the homeowner is responsible for that blockage and releasing that blockage, but I really struggle with this because I do think putting this entire asphalt and all that other nonsense onto the homeowner when that's typically not what would have had to have happened if the proper investigative work is done is just not a great way to do business. I think it's tough.
Can I follow up on those comments? So do we have breakdown of costs, what we're talking about here and what it would cost to replace the asphalt?
Through the mayor to rest of council, costs incurred to date for this repair have amounted to $6,422.45, included in the work order attachment as part of this report here. The estimated costs for the asphalt are estimated to be anywhere between $12,000 and $15,000 more in the spring.
All right. Councillor McDonald, you had your hand up.
Report, okay, it had mentioned that there was a sinkhole that was in the street. Okay, would that have possibly added to the issue here? with moving pipes and everything?
Administration?
Through the mayor to rest the council, no, I do not believe that the observed sinkhole, as noted in the work order notes, had anything to do with this repair. As you can see in the pictures of the work order, the pipe was not clay tile or anything that would have resulted in a collapse. It was PVC pipe. When we exposed the pipe was in good condition. The sinkhole there, I'm not sure that it can be called necessarily a sinkhole or just a degradation and a deterioration of asphalt quality over time.
Thank you.
All right, council, how do we want to deal with this? Councillor Nelson?
Just have a question for clarification on page 76 of 103 of our packages. Kind of where it breaks down the different pieces of the report, the one where it has notes at 10:41 a.m. on November 13th. It says he did say that bad buildup, he doesn't think steam would have worked, but I think what you just reported is likely there would have been a different option than excavating that could have solved it. What would that option have been? Thank you.
Through the mayor to rest the council, augering is an effective way of removing a blockage. Steaming does tend to loosen up built up grease as well. It tends to melt it away. So a combination of steaming and augering would have likely cleared out the line.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Dunn?
I as well feel a little uncomfortable with having the homeowner covering these charges. Essentially based on what Mr. Mercier is saying with some of the policies that were not followed. And I understand why the deposit wasn't requested and the sewer investigation agreement wasn't completed. But I just feel right from the onset, it felt like a determination was made that it was town property right from the beginning. And I just feel because of that Mr. Mercier should not be covering the costs.
What do you want to do?
I'd like to make a motion that council directs administration to cover the sanitary sewer repair at 186 Sutherland Avenue and to return the sewer and wastewater bylaw number 2006 to a future committee of the whole meeting.
Councillor Nelson?
I would like to make an amendment to the motion. And the wording, I guess the wording would be minus the cost of augering and steaming. And if I could speak to it, the cost of augering and steaming to me is what the homeowner should have been responsible for, not the digging and pavement and all of those things. If we would have cut twice or measured twice and cut once before digging into the concrete, the less invasive method could have been used. But I do still believe that the homeowner should be covering the cost of what it would have cost if likely the augering and steaming would have worked. So I'm not sure if there's a dollar amount that we know, but that's my amendment. Thank you.
All right. And so I'm not going to look at this as a friendly amendment. So what we're going to do first, council, then is vote on this amendment. So we're not voting on the motion as originally presented. We're only voting on adding the words minus the augering and steaming costs. Councillor Dunn?
Just a question. Do we have any idea how much that is?
Through the mayor to council, a steam truck may cost anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 for a steam truck plus a plumber's time. The total cost may amount to somewhere around $4,000. But we have historical invoices that we can refer to make an educated decision on that.
Done? You good? Okay, Councillor Chambers.
I agree with the amendment, but I'm wondering in the essence of clarity, do we pick a dollar value? Do we say with the homeowner? I do agree that the homeowner needs to be accountable for some portion of this. You know, there is a responsibility for them to be paying for part of this invoice. But again, like I said before, I don't think our learning curve should be on their shoulders. But, you know, should we look at setting a dollar value of $5,000 that the homeowner is responsible for, with the remainder being on the shoulders of the town, just to keep it clean and concise when we walk away from the table? It's less money than what's owing currently. But just a thought.
Counselor Nelson.
I guess my question would be, would it make the most sense for us to provide administration direction to bring that number back? And the reason, and I don't know how everything works, but if ever the homeowner were to go to insurance, I'm guessing they would probably want a breakdown, not of elected officials saying how much it might cost to suck something out. I think having admin bring that dollar amount back is probably better for all parties, but I'm just hypothesizing at this time.
Well, I agree with that 100%. And we heard from administration that they have invoices from past similar situations. And I think that's probably a smart way to deal with it, administration.
Thank you, through the mayor, to rest the council. What we can do here as well is that we could just meet with Mr. Mercier. We could just agree that we're going to find a plumber to provide us an estimate on that. And that's the number that we'll go with. And if that number is to be contested, then we could bring that back to council to make a final ruling on that. But I think if we get together, we pick a plumber, we go to them and say, how much would it cost in order to, you know, to clear this pipe, and then we just move forward with that unless contested. Just because we don't know if it'll have to come back to this table, if both the parties are happy, and we can just make that work and move along. So,
Councillor Nelson.
So does the verbiage within that amendment give you what you need to do that?
Through the mayor, yes, it does. I think everything, the method of how we determine the number, that can just be administrative. And again, if there's, you know, if that number is going to be contested, then that's going to come back to this table. But yeah, I think that's broad enough. We can move ahead with that.
Thank you.
All right, looks like everybody had a say. Now remember, we're voting now on the amendment to include the words minus the augering and steaming. And with that, please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thanks, council. All right, now we back to the main motion. And we've talked it to death, but one last opportunity. Anybody have any thoughts or comments they'd like to make? Seeing none, then I call the question. The council directs administration to cover the sanitary and sewer repairs at 185 Sutherland Avenue, minus their augering and steaming, to return. No. Period after steaming. It's good just a period after steaming, I think.
Through the mayor, there was also the, as a part of the motion, to bring that,
Oh.
bring that bylaw back to a future committee of the whole as well.
Okay, good. All right, so then I call the question, now that I've got it square, the council directs administration to cover the sanitary and sewer repair at 186 Sutherland Avenue, minus the augering and steaming, and return the sewer and wastewater bylaw number 2006 to a future committee of the whole meeting. And with that, Please vote. And that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mercier. All right. And then I guess we're on to information item 8.2, and that's the 2025 whistleblower annual report administration.
Thank you, Mayor. Through the rest of council, as per whistleblower policy 1203, we do have a requirement that an annual report is to be presented to council. That is the report that you see in front of you today. We are happy to report that no whistleblower reports have been received in 2025. And if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Council? Councillor Nelson, and then I've got you, Don.
I'd like to move that council accept the 2025 whistleblower report as information and relieve here. There's no whistles outside of Drinnan Way. Thank you.
Before we move on from there, I do have a question on page 7 of 13 of that bylaw under 7.2. Why is there a limit of 6 months? Like there's a requirement that it's 6 months from the time of the event or the knowledge of the whistleblower. I'm just curious why that's limited to 6 months.
Sorry, can you just repeat the section that you're
Sorry,
talking about?
it's 7.2. It's on page 7 of 13.
To the mayor, I will turn this over to Ms. Hope. She will likely have a better answer.
She
than
was
I.
dying to have something to say.
Hi, thank you for the question. It's to, sorry, trying to be succinct. It's to help maintain the integrity of the investigation so that events are recent enough that people can remember and we can collect data on it.
Fair answer. Thank you. All right, so we have a motion on the floor, council. That council accept the 2025 whistleblower report as information. And with that, please vote. Thanks, Bill. And that's carried unanimously. All right, so then the last information item for tonight, sometimes, let me get to there. And it is a proclamation and one I'm happy to make. Oop. Whereas January is designated internationally as Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and the town of Hinton wishes to raise awareness that Alzheimer's disease and all forms of dementia affect more than 50,000 Albertans directly or indirectly. And whereas Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, causing symptoms such as cognitive decline, memory loss, and difficulty performing daily activities. And whereas the Alzheimer's Society of Alberta and the Northwest Territories provides valuable information and services for those affected by dementia and Alzheimer's disease, including supporting rural communities and improving the quality of lives of care partners and those living with Alzheimer's disease. And whereas, as the focus of this commitment, we light Hinton's public facilities blue in January and encourage everyone to be part of increasing awareness of Alzheimer's disease and recognizing the valuable work of both paid and unpaid care partners in our community. Together, we can build a more dementia-friendly community. Now, therefore, on behalf of council, I, Brian LaBerge, Mayor of the town of Hinton, do hereby proclaim the month of January as Alzheimer's Awareness Month in Hinton. And now, notice of motions. Are there any? Jen?
No, there are none this evening.
Thank you. And reporting. I will start on my right. Councillor Dunn.
Thank you. I attended the Youth Advisory Council meeting on December 18th. And during that meeting, we did a brainstorming session with the council to come up with some suggestions for their projects that they were going to work on for the rest of the term. And at the next meeting in January, we will discuss what projects were decided on. Thank you.
Councillor McLean. Oh. Councillor Nelson. Councillor McDonald.
I'd like to remind everybody that tomorrow at the Hinton Center, HELP has got live music and a buffet dinner with pierogies and sausage. Okay, and it's put on by HELP here in Hinton, and everybody in the community is invited.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Chambers.
Nothing to report.
And I guess for myself, I don't have a lot to report, except I'm really happy I don't have any more Christmas meals to eat. So with that, council, the last motion of the day. Oh, please. Last but not least is what I meant.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, through the rest of council. I just wanted to mention that on a more somber note, over the holidays, we did have the passing of 3 team members from the town of Hinton. I just wanted to recognize them. Eric Worthing, who I always knew as Butch, has passed away, who was an equipment operator. 2 of our volunteer firefighters, Jeff Bleach, and John Sanders had also passed away. So it has been a difficult time for the town of Hinton and our local fire department, but I just wanted to pay their respects, and we appreciate everything that they've provided to the town of Hinton and to our community.
And the feedback that I've received for all of them is pretty humbling. It's those are all members of the community that really impacted the community. Thank you for that. Councillor, I don't want to turn you off again. McLean. Council. All in favor? Oh, there we go. And that is carried. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Mr. Mercier, thanks for taking the time tonight.